This message comes from Capital One Commercial Bank. Your business requires commercial banking solutions that prioritize your long-term success. With Capital One, get a full suite of financial products and services tailored to meet your needs today and goals for tomorrow. Learn more at CapitalOne.com/commercial. Member FDIC. Brought to you by the Capital One Savor Card. With Savor, you earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining, entertainment, and at grocery stores. That's unlimited cash back on ordering takeout from home, or unlimited cash back on tickets to concerts and games. So grab a bite, grab a seat, and earn unlimited 3% cash back with the Savor Card. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This is Talkin Rock. Talkin Rock. Your backstage pass to some of your favorite rock artists. Here's your host, Meltdown.
Hey, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the non-award-winning podcast, Talkin Rock. I'm Meltdown. Richie Faulkner's band, Elegant Weapons, has a new record out, and I have to admit, it's friggin' killer. I was checking out some of it just before I did this interview. By the way, as I record this, it dropped last Friday. It's called Evolution. We'll talk with Richie about the album, talk with Richie about some of the special guests on it, as well as what's happening in the Judas Priest camp, because it seems like no matter what happens or what year we're in, it never ends for the guys from Judas Priest. There's there's a documentary coming up. They've got a best of record coming up and more. Let's talk with Richie Faulkner on Talkin Rock. Hey, Richie, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, I was listening to this record today on YouTube, actually, because I'm old. And I love the descriptions of all the songs. I don't know if most bands do that, but, man, what a way to kind of let the fans in on really what makes this record unique and different and all the different elements to it.
Yeah, I think it's important, this is where we're coming from. But also, obviously, the listener can make up their own, when someone listens to it, they perceive it in their way as well. So that's important too. But we're just happy for it to be out. It's exciting, dropping a new album and letting the people decide, really. You let it go onto the world and see what happens. It's an exciting time.
And by the way, the record just completely shreds. And I saw you got Jared James Nichols on there as well. There's a bunch of guests. Did you go out looking for guests, or was this something that just kind of fell in your lap while you were making the record?
Well, Jared was an idea. I live near Jared. We both live near Nashville, and he's a friend of mine. So I see him quite a bit when he's at home and I'm at home. And I just asked him one night. There was space for another solo on one of the songs, and it was quite a bluesy song anyway. And I thought it would be quite cool and appropriate. And Jared's such a killer player, and I asked him if he would do it, and he did. So he put down a solo, and it really brought something to the song, I think. But the other one, Adam Wakeman, I felt like a couple of the tracks needed some keys, some proper keys, like a Hammond organ. And I can do bits and pieces on the keys, like underlying pads and layers and stuff like that. But I needed a proper player. So Davey Rimmer, the bass player, he actually suggested Adam, and I got in touch, and he put down some tracks, Come Back to Me, which is the ballad, Keeper of the Keys, which is like a mid-tempo kind of Deep Purple-esque track, and it really brought them to life. So we're really happy that those guys could do it, and grateful to them, really, for bringing another dynamic to the record.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a guy to play keys, Adam Wakeman's a pretty good pick for sure. But I see that, I was just down in Nashville last week, and it's kind of funny because on that song you mentioned, Keeper of the Keys, you used this Flying V that was once owned by Marcus King. And I actually took a taxi ride with Marcus King and Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys in Nashville one time. So I just thought
it's a happening spot. There's a lot of people there. There's a lot of good energy, a lot of good music there, a lot of good musicians. It's a happening spot. We played there maybe twice in the last 15 years with Priest. So we don't play there very often with Priest, but it's a great place to be, and it's a great energy, as I said, and people are always good players and great ideas, and it's just a great place to be.
Yeah, and it's like it's definitely become a music mecca for sure. I guess the country guys were all there for the longest time, and now there's a bunch of rock guys there too, aren't there?
Exactly. Everyone's moved in from different places. I think it's because of that energy, as you said, not just country anymore, but all types of stuff. Because of that energy, that openness to new things, and it's a great kind of accepting place.
And some of the other songs on this record opens up with "Evil Eyes." I loved your description on YouTube where you said that this record or that song kind of defines the tone of the band, and it's like it kind of sets the record for the rest of the album, right?
Yeah, you want something. It's like a live show. You want to come out the gates swinging. It's got energy, it's got pace, and it introduces the band. The band's sound. Anyone that doesn't know who the band is, I think they're going to get it from this track, and it kind of sets the tone for the album, as you said. And then you're off. Then you set the pace, you set the tone, and then you continue through the album. And we try to do that. We try to put an album together as an album, so there's a start, a middle, and an end. And hopefully that makes the impact you need to start to keep on listening to the rest of the record.
And one final track I wanted to ask you about was obviously the track Rupture. So tell me about that.
Well, yeah, I remember putting it together, and I could hear like a rhythmic kind of heartbeat sound through the track. And then I could hear I could see a movie. When sometimes you listen to music, you get a movie in your head about what's going on. And I could see like a hospital bed with a patient on there connected to tubes and stuff, and they're fighting for their life. That's what I could see in my mind, and I drew reference from my own experience, really, and that heartbeat that goes throughout the song. I could hear turmoil in there and like a fight for their life, but I could also hear hope as well. But and at the end, the heart stops and it flatlines at the end, which fortunately I didn't do, but
right.
I thought it created like a cool dynamic on the record, and it thunders in with the next track after that, which is Mercy of the Fallen. I just thought it would be a good dynamic to have an instrumental on a record like that, which then thunders in with the track afterwards. We thought it was a cool thing.
Now, you just mentioned, when you put this record together, you got to have a beginning, a middle, and end, obviously. How much of this record was influenced by you working with Judas Priest as far as kind of piecing it together? Have you maybe approached recording and approach putting out music in a different way since you joined Judas Priest?
Well, definitely. I think that's one of the elements, like you mentioned, putting an album together as an album. And I think, I always try and do that because of them. Even before Priest, if I was in another band that we had a group of songs, you'd put them together, you'd present them like that because bands like Priest did that, So we do that in Priest still. And also the way it was recorded on Firepower. We got together in the studio, recorded the songs together, recorded the drum tracks, and we did that on this record as well. We got together, and you get the band members interacting, and you get that kind of spontaneity, that cohesive energy in the room where, if someone does something spontaneous, you will fire off that energy and kind of match it. And I think that's important when you get the ground for the album. So for those two things, there's probably more of them, but we definitely, that changed my way of recording and putting it together. And I think, they're definitely responsible for that.
This message comes from Capital One Commercial Bank. Your business requires commercial banking solutions that prioritize your long-term success. With Capital One, get a full suite of financial products and services tailored to meet your needs today and goals for tomorrow. Learn more at CapitalOne.com/commercial. Member FDIC.
Elegant Weapons Evolution is out right now. It's killer, and you got a lot of stuff happening, not only with that band, but with Priest as well. And by the way, according to this Wikipedia on the Google machine here on the internet, a few days ago was your 15th anniversary with Priest. Is that true? April 20th, 2011, it said.
That's absolutely correct, yeah. I joined on the farewell tour. And I think they lied to me because we're still here 15 years later. But, 15 years. We're still putting out music. We're still touring. And I think the world's a better place that we've still got Priest in it. So, long may it continue. We're still having good fun with it. They still love what they do. I'm just happy to be here. So, still talking to you about Priest and new music. So it doesn't get any better than that.
I mean, when you joined that band 15 years ago, as a kid growing up listening to them and all that kind of stuff, and now you've been in the band for a good chunk of their history here. That's got to be a little bit of a mind fuck to just coin a phrase, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, well, definitely. Yeah. When you get that call, it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. You never think you're going to get that type of phone call. I think you aspire. Like we were talking about before, when you're in other bands, when you're growing up and you put like an EP together or a group of songs, when you write songs as well, you look to these bands for how to do it. What did they do? How did they do this? And then to get that phone call that Sunday afternoon, you don't think it's real, but it definitely was. And you go from there, and it's been an education ever since. And as I said, we're still doing it. We're recording new music for February just gone for a new record coming out. We don't know when it's going to be, but as I said, still making music and still learning from those guys. And yeah, it couldn't be better.
Yeah, there seems to be no slowing down in the Priest world. So you said you're working on some new stuff right now. Is that in Nashville, or do you guys just kind of work on it all over the world, like is kind of commonplace, I suppose, this day where you send tracks in or whatever the case is?
Well, no, we got together in February just outside Nashville and did the same thing what I said before with Firepower and with the Weapons record. We got together and we did the drum tracks together. We didn't do it on Invincible Shield because of the restrictions around, we just lifted the COVID restrictions and we were on tour. So we had to fit the recordings around that. And so that was a bit different. But we got together, recorded the groundings for the record outside of Nashville. So we got the drums done, we got bass done, we got guitars done. I did solo guitars in my studio at home. So it's moving on. We've got the bass for it. And yeah, it's sounding really cool.
And then this the Best Of record is coming out on June 19th, and I guess you can get that on Amazon and wherever. So how much impact did you have and influence into that record?
I mean, the Best Of, we all know when you think of classic Priest, we've all got our idea when that is, and it's probably the same as, we're probably thinking the same thing. So my time in Priest is kind of after that, after that classic period. So I don't really have a hand in that. But as I said, I'm just happy to be here 15 years later when they're still putting out stuff like that. It's an incredible honor. Yeah,
you got a couple tracks on that record, but yeah, you're right, because when was the first time, you've probably answered this a billion times, but when did you see Priest for the first time?
I saw Priest without Rob, and I saw Rob without Priest. I'd never seen Priest with Rob. I saw Tim with, I saw Priest with Ripper Owens. It must have been early 2000s, I guess, mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there, I'm not quite sure. And I saw Rob in Anaheim with Halford. Must have been around the same time, really, maybe a bit later on. I'm not sure. But yeah, I never saw them together. But and I still haven't. I've never seen them from the front anyway. I'm up there, obviously, with them, but never seen them from the front. But I remember when I first heard them, and it was consciously, I knew that's Judas Priest was Painkiller. I was early teens. And I mean, how can you not be bowled over by that drum intro and the way that song comes in? But it still stands up today. It's just a phenomenal song.
Yeah, you got to get chills every time you even hear them start that song with Scott back there, man. Unbelievable.
Absolutely. On the last tour, Rob would point in the show. Rob would sit on the front and he'd, address the audience and he'd say about the history of the band and he'd go through all the albums. So he'd go from Rock and Roller, Sad Wings of Destiny, Sin After Sin, and when you got a cheer after every one. When he came to Painkiller, doesn't matter if you're in Chicago, doesn't matter if you're in Tokyo, doesn't matter if you're in Buenos Aires, the roof would lift off when he mentioned Painkiller. It was just an amazing thing, how music can connect like that.
And the Ballad of Judas Priest, now that I think premiered this weekend or whatever in Canada or something like that, but you've obviously seen that, right?
Yeah, it's a cool thing. I think it's doing the rounds of some film festivals. It was in Europe a few weeks ago. Rob went over there to Berlin, and obviously Tom Morello produced that along with Sam Dunn from Banger. Sam's great, obviously. He's done a lot of things with Banger. I think he did Rush,
yes,
the Maiden stuff, a lot of stuff. And Tom's great. So yeah, it's cool. It's a really heartwarming, fun, really informative documentary about Priest. And yeah, I can't wait for people to see that as well. As a fan watching it, it's a really cool thing.
Was there stuff that that was in the documentary that you didn't know?
I think I knew, but there's some things that I hadn't seen before. I think Ian goes back to the Working Man's Club where they played their first show, and he's sitting in the same room. You can still see the stage and stuff. So I'd never seen things like that before. So that was a really cool thing to see and. See them talking about it, and it's part of their life. It's part of all of our lives. But they created it, and they're going back in time to when they created something that we all know and love. It's a magical thing.
Yeah. Well, Richie, I appreciate the time. Elegant Weapons is out right now, and I apologize for the screw-up. This is going to sound maybe lame, perhaps, but I've been preoccupied this week. I had Peter Criss right here in the studio with me earlier this week, and I've been worried about that.
Oh, wow.
And then I screwed up the link and everything, so I apologize for all that. It's been kind of a hectic week, and like I said, I was in Nashville last week. I went to Kid Rock's Comedy Jam, and did some work down there. So, yeah, it's been kind of a whirlwind tour getting back. But I appreciate your patience and waiting for me. And good luck with everything. It's always great to talk to you. And I can't wait to see the Priest machine back out. And, of course, with this new record, man, it's killer. I got to have to get this one on vinyl, I think.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, vinyl's going to be coming out later in the year, so we'll keep you posted about that. Keep looking out for that, and if we've got any updates, just check out our socials and website and all the normal spaces. And from now, you can get the music wherever you normally get music from. So enjoy it.
All right, Richie. Well, listen, I appreciate your time. Safe travels. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Bye now.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Richie, I don't think he's married, but I think he's had a long-term relationship with George Lynch's daughter. And if I'm not mistaken, they have a child as well. So I guess it's like George Lynch's son-in-law, but always great to talk with. And really happy that he is out there doing this Elegant Weapons band. I hope they tour because, man, this thing friggin' shreds. So if you get a chance, definitely punch it up and see what you think about that. But Richie, just a good guy to talk with, and an awesome player as well. I've seen him live at least 2 or 3 times now, maybe more than that. I can't recall. Hey, thank you guys so much for checking out Talkin Rock as we cruise through April here, getting ready to get into concert season here in the Motor City, as a lot of shows have been announced for the summertime and whatnot. And I'm here for it.
Thank you for listening to Talkin Rock with Meltdown. You can help this podcast grow by giving it a 5-star rating and writing a review on Apple and iTunes. Plus, feel free to subscribe and share it with your friends. Until next time, thanks for listening to Talkin Rock.